Hello friends, welcome to GS Core and this is Viraj. So today we will as always go through daily current affairs, and today we are looking into one of the most important topics. You will know about it. Most important topic, something that we were requested to take up. And through this current affairs ka topic, now obviously we'll skill ourselves to solve MCQs. Chalo, let us start with the topics. Let us see what the topics are. First topic is of course Israel-Iran conflict. सबसे ज़्यादा request was for taking up this topic, so we'll cover it comprehensively. Don't worry. Then we will talk about Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar because yesterday, that is on 14th April, what was observed is his birth anniversary of Dr. Ambedkar. Alright, moving ahead. Uniform Civil Code, it has been promised in the manifesto of Bharatiya Janata Party. Normally political news are not important, but Uniform Civil Code has been in news. Uttarakhand has also adopted it, hence we will look into it. We'll look into it again in a very comprehensive manner. And then we have anti-tank missile, MPATGM, and also insurance regulator IRDAI. Okay, so these are the 5 topics of the day. Chalo, let us talk about Israel-Iran conflict. So Israel and Iran, it has been, the conflict has opened up and the issue has been in news because on April 12th, what happened? What basically happened was Israel sent its war jets. Now we are not siding with any country as such. Israel sent its jet planes which targeted Iranian embassy, Iranian consulate in Syria. And in this particular attack, a military commander of Iran got killed. All right, and in response to this, what Iran has done is Iran has attacked Israel with drones and cruise missiles. All right, drones and cruise missiles, but none of this were basically able to get into Iranian territory. All right, none of this were basically able to get into Iranian territory because of none of this basically were able to get into Israel's territory because of Israel's advanced defense system. Now, what has been the history of Israel and Iran? ठीक है, देखो, it has not been कि Israel and Iran have always been adversaries. That is not the case. All right, that is not the case. In fact, Iran was second Islamic country to basically recognize Israel. First was Turkey. All right, but this was in the pre-Islamic Iran. So you have to remember, Iran before 1979 was administered by, it was basically administered by the Shah, the monarch. All right, and the Shah basically was a king of Pahlavi dynasty. All right, his name was Muhammad Shah Reza. Not important, but still Pahlavi dynasty. Now this particular Shah was an ally of US, and Israel also basically was an ally of US. It is still an ally of US. So both of them got along very well. Both of them basically got along very well. Later what we see is an Islamic revolution happening in Iran. And through this Islamic revolution, Ayatollah Khomeini came to power. Now Ayatollah Khomeini, my dear friends, was a theocrat, and therefore he converted Iran into a Shia Islamic Republic. Alright. In Iran, what is the case? Dekho, first and foremost, it is not a completely democratic country like India. What happens there is the supreme leader, the supreme Islamic leader, he chooses candidates amongst whom there will be election for president. Alright, and it is considered that even above president is the position of the supreme leader. So supreme leader in one way takes care of the issues related to governance and policy making, even if he is not the president. Alright, president himself is also under the obligation towards the supreme leader. Okay, so at that point of time, revolution was brought about by Ayatollah Khomeini. Ayatollah Khomeini implement policy of Israel being the little Satan. Alright, he disliked Israel, and the reason given for that was that Israel basically was occupying Palestine illegally. That is, it was occupying a Muslim land illegally. And more so important, what was it? It was occupying the land to which Jerusalem belonged. Jerusalem is important to both Jewish and Muslims. Alright. And this particular enmity between Israel and Iran got even more intense. It got even more intense for the reason that Israel and West started having suspicions with respect to Iran's nuclear ambitions. Now it is always suspected that Israel also has nuclear weapons. They do, but what we see is they do not state it, or they have not openly disclosed it. With respect to Iran, it was suspected that Iran has nuclear ambitions and it is developing nuclear weapons. Alright. It was also thought that these nuclear weapons will be used by Iran against Israel, and hence pinpointed attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities have occurred. Okay, in the last 10 to 12 years, they have occurred. Also, what has happened is there has been assassination of nuclear scientists of Iran. Iran states that it does not have nuclear ambitions. It does not basically have nuclear ambitions, and because it does not basically have nuclear ambitions, its program is civilian in nature. Iran says that it is interested in nuclear energy for civilian purpose and nuclear energy for medical purpose. All right. With respect to this history, what do we know as of now is, to an extent, Iran and Israel are not able to come to the same page. They do not trust each other. They do not want to come on the same page. With respect to the attack that happened on 12th April, in which a senior military commander of Iran was killed by Israel, the reason given by Israel was he belonged to the Quds force and he was in Syria, or the Syrian embassy, Iranian consulate in Syria. Iranian consulate in Syria, what it was doing? It was trying to coordinate an attack orchestrated towards Israel. Alright, so Israel claims that the attack done by it was self-defense. Iran says there was no such plan. There was no such plan. Alright, now at the center of everything is this Quds force. Alright, this Quds force. Now what is Quds force basically? Quds force, my dear friends, Quds force, my dear friends, is basically a paramilitary organization, paramilitary and intelligence organization which comes or which reports directly to the Islamic Republic Guard. Now remember, Islamic Republic Guard Corps. This is the force that carried out the 1979 wala revolution. Alright, and it reports directly to the supreme leader. Alright, the religious leader, supreme religious leader of Shias. It does not work under the president of Iran or does not work under the defense minister of Iran. Okay. It is also the responsibility of Quds force to coordinate amongst the militant groups that are supportive of Iran. So it basically carries out operations that are extraterritorial and in which regular forces do not take a lead or do not participate. Alright, that is what Quds force is. It is an organization working under Islamic Guard. Alright, Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Alright, even the present attack, even the latest attack that Iran carried out against Israel, drone attack. Alright, it was also carried out by the Quds force. It was also carried out by the Quds force. And in this particular attack, what do we understand is, that Iran used an attack drone named Mohajir-10. Now very important from prelims point of view to remember name of this particular drone. They can simply ask what is Mohajir-10. Alright, now let us look at the question. This is the overall history and current positioning. Alright, more than this is not required. You are not here to become foreign policy experts. Alright, more than this basically is not required. तो चलो देख लेते हैं एक बार what is the question. Consider the following statements regarding Quds force. It is basically a paramilitary and intelligence wing of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Absolutely correct. The force reports to the defense minister of Iran. Absolutely not. As I told you, it reports to the supreme leader. The first supreme leader was Ayatollah Khomeini, who brought about Islamic revolution in Iran. Third statement, Quds force is tasked with coordinating action with Iran military groups. Absolutely, those military groups who are pro-Iran, with them basically Quds force coordinates. If you look into this particular question now, what do we understand? What do we basically understand? So statement 2 is incorrect, statement 1 and statement 3 are correct. Our answer therefore will be B, only 2. Alright, chalo, let us now move on to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Bharat Ratna Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, what we saw yesterday was his birth anniversary, 14th April, birth anniversary, a very important day. Alright, now Dr. Ambedkar is important for UPSC aspirants for many reasons. Alright, and he will always remain important from Indian history point of view also, and also from the point of view of UPSC examination. But he is extraordinarily important at this point of time because almost all political parties in India are trying to claim his legacy. Alright, almost every political party in India is trying to claim his legacy. So what I will also ask you to do is, keep with yourself information with respect to people whose legacy at this point of time is unchallenged. Alright, for example, two names that come to my mind are, of course, other than Dr. Ambedkar, what I will say is Sardar Patel, because every political party, and I'm not criticizing them or something like that, but every political party is trying to claim the legacy of Sardar Patel, Dr. Ambedkar and Shahid-e-Azam Bhagat Singh. So keep informations with respect to them handy. They can be asked, questions with respect to them can be asked in prelims or in mains. We'll focus on prelims for now. Chalo. Let us look into the life of Dr. Ambedkar and then let us go to the questions with respect to his life. Okay, so Dr. Ambedkar basically was born in 1891 in Mau, which now is in Madhya Pradesh. His initial education was from Bombay University. So his degree was from Bombay University. Later, what he did was he did his doctorate from two universities. One is Columbia and other is London School of Economics, two very prestigious institutions. And in this, what we also see is he was provided scholarship by Maharaja of Baroda, Sayaji Rao Gaikwad. Alright. So his initial or his orientation, intellectual orientation initially was towards economics, and then he went on to do degree in law. He went on to do law also. Alright. Dr. Ambedkar, after coming to India, started working for welfare of depressed classes, and for this what he did was he started Association for Welfare of Depressed Classes, and to concentrate on the plight of depressed classes, he basically started a number of newspapers, in which the important newspaper are Bahishkrit Bharat. This is the most important newspaper, by the way, started by Dr. Ambedkar, Bahishkrit Bharat. And second is Janta. Alright. There is also Mukh Nayak. I will want you to remember Mukh Nayak also, because it was his first newspaper started by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Okay. Moving ahead, what do we also notice with respect to Ambedkar, or what do we also know with respect to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar? He was participant of all three roundtable conferences as representative of depressed classes. Alright, and this roundtable conference led to Government of India Act 1935 been drafted. Government of India Act 1935 provided separate electorate to depressed classes. Mahatma Gandhi was against it because the philosophy of separate electorate was that people of certain community will be voted by people of that community itself. So community votes for that community itself. Now what does it specify? It specifies that one particular community has political needs which could not be understood political needs and political aspirations which cannot be understood by people belonging to other communities. So this basically means a particular community is politically different, and hence a division in the overall society is created because of separate electorate. Alright, Dr. Ambedkar saw it as an opportunity for political upliftment of depressed classes, and he was not wrong basically. Alright, he was not wrong. He was not totally wrong. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi saw it as an effort by Britishers to divide the Hindu society, and hence Mahatma Gandhi, for the purpose of stopping the implementation of separate electorate, what he did was he went on to fast unto death, and this he did in Yerwada jail of Pune, where he was at that time kept by the British government. Okay. After the persuasion by Madan Mohan Malviya, there was basically a political compromise between Dr. Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi, and the compromise basically was a separate electorate will not be provided. Alright, separate electorate will not be provided. In place of that, there will be reservation of seats. Alright, so from constituencies depressed classes, only candidates belonging to depressed classes could stand for election. Voting will be done by everyone. Alright, so what it basically suggested was, yes, there is a need to provide affirmative action to depressed classes, but there should be no political division within the society. So all communities will participate in the voting, though candidates in the constituency will be depressed classes itself. So reservation मिल गया, upliftment हो गया, but division in the society, political division in the society was avoided. Later on, what we see is Dr. Ambedkar taking up the position of labor minister in Lord Wavell's Executive Council. It was a cabinet of a sorts which was headed by Lord Wavell nominally and in reality by Jawaharlal Nehru, because he was the deputy chairman of that particular council. तो वाइसरॉय जो था ना, वाइसरॉय basically will be nominal head of the council and real head would be the deputy of the executive council, deputy chairman of the executive council. ठीक है. Also, with respect to political parties, what we see is Dr. Ambedkar had created Independent Labour Party. And also Scheduled Caste Federation, Depressed Caste Federation, sorry. But this is more important, and UPSC's orientation is towards Independent Labour Party. Labour Party, sorry. With on social front, na, remember Bahishkrit Hitkari Sabha that Dr. Ambedkar had established. Hitkarani Sabha. Alright. He was also the member of Constituent Assembly, and he was elected as member of Constituent Assembly from the province of Bengal. One more thing, my dear friends, please remember, Ambedkar became the chairman of drafting committee, and therefore he is also called the chief architect of Indian Constitution. chief architect of Indian Constitution. Let us move on now to his role after independence. So after independence, what we see with respect to Dr. Ambedkar is he basically became the law minister in Nehru cabinet, and it was because of his orientation towards Hindu Code Bill. And his perseverance towards getting it passed led to his resignation. देखो, at that point of time, many members of Congress were not in favor of Hindu Code Bill. Hence, passing the bill was not so easy. And Ambedkar was oriented towards passing the bill because it will bring modernity to Hindu law, Hindu civil law. And there was a dispute between him and Nehru. Nehru also wanted to pass it. Jawaharlal Nehru also wanted to pass Hindu Code Bill, but he could not get majority around that bill. This dispute led to resignation by Dr. Ambedkar. All right. Dr. Ambedkar therefore resigned in 1951. He carried on basically with his socio-political activities, but on 6th December 1956, what happened was Dr. Ambedkar passed away, which is also, the day is also called as Maha Parinirvahan Divas. Before his passing, a few days before his passing, what he did was he adopted Buddhism. He worked all his life towards upliftment of depressed classes and against the crude practice of untouchability. Also, Dr. Ambedkar is known for his contribution towards upliftment of women. Dr. Ambedkar was awarded Bharat Ratna. He was awarded Bharat Ratna in the year 1919. Marnoparant, that is, after death he was awarded Bharat Ratna. Alright, Ambedkar was a prolific writer, one of the biggest intellectuals of last century, and his most important book is Annihilation of Caste. After you are done with your mains examination, I will ask you to read this book. This is one of the most intellectually stimulating book written by an Indian. Alright friends, so we'll move on now. We'll now move on to the next questions. We'll have to discuss question. I'm so sorry, I was so engrossed into Dr. Ambedkar that I basically, forgot that we have to do question also. Okay, so consider the following statements regarding Dr. Ambedkar. First statement, Pune Pact between Dr. Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi resulted in depressed classes getting separate electorate in Central Legislative Council and Provincial Legislative Council. Nahi. Pune Pact, the one which was the result of compromise between Dr. Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi and facilitated by Madan Mohan Malviya, as we have seen, what it did was, it did away with separate electorate. The separate electorate was pushed out, and what came in? Reservation for people belonging to depressed classes. Alright, remember Pune Pact, very important from prelims point of view. Number of time questions have been asked from it. Bahishkrit Bharat and Janata were newspapers founded by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Absolutely correct. Dr. Ambedkar was elected to Constituent Assembly from United Province. No, he was elected to Constituent Assembly from Bengal. Alright, so here only one statement is correct, hence A only one will be the answer. Moving to Uniform Civil Code now. Now what is Uniform Civil Code? So Article 44 of the Indian Constitution talks about Uniform Civil Code. So it is basically providing common law, common civil law to all citizens. Alright, that means every citizen will have common law with respect to matters of marriage, divorce, inheritance, maintenance, that is husband providing some money for the for his divorced wife. Maintenance and adoption. All right. Article 44 basically is part of, it is included in part 4 of the Indian Constitution, which are basically DPSPs. So DPSPs are directions to the state that are to be adopted for welfare of the people of country, right? And the intellectual and the ideology that basically pushes for the DPSP of Uniform Civil Code is liberal intellectual. So there are basically 3 ideologies on the basis of which directive principles have been created. First is Gandhian, second is socialist, and third is liberal intellectual. So it is on the basis of liberal intellectual ideology that directive principle has included Uniform Civil Code. All right. Now Uniform Civil Code से आने से क्या होगा? What will be the benefit of Uniform Civil Code? It will modernize the law. Most of our laws, most of our personal laws related to marriage and everything, they are based on religious thinking, religious orientation, and therefore they are, I'm not talking about any particular religion, it is common with respect to all religions. They are non-egalitarian. Taken. And there is diversity within the religion also, and hence certainty does not come. So Uniform Civil Code basically will create a level playing field with respect to genders and with respect to classes within the religion also. So there will be no discrimination, and second is it will bring more clarity. It will basically bring more clarity, and modernization to hoga hi. Laws will be made, or rights will be provided based on the current thinking about the issues related to marriage, divorce, inheritance, maintenance and adoption. So it will obviously open the door for legal reforms. At this point of time, 2 states in India have Uniform Civil Code. One is Goa and other is Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand too recently has passed the law, and it has got the assent from President of India. Mind you, it has got the assent from President of India. Parliament and state legislature both can basically pass laws on Uniform Civil Code. Reason for that is personal law or civil law is placed in concurrent list. So concurrent list mein the items that are present on them, law can be passed by both union government and by union parliament and state legislature. ठीक है, तो in that way even state can pass laws on it. All right, state can pass basically laws on it. ठीक है, so let us now see question with respect to Uniform Civil Code. Which of the following are correct regarding Uniform Civil Code? So let us look into it. A Uniform Civil Code means that all sections of the society, irrespective of their religion, shall be treated equally with respect to civil law. Absolutely correct. Civil law सबके लिए एक ही होगा. Civil laws basically are the laws that deal with this particular subject that we have discussed. Goa and Uttarakhand are the 2 states in India where Uniform Civil Code is implemented. Yes, this is also correct. Law on Uniform Civil Code can be made by both Parliament and state legislature. Yes, we have just seen that. Third statement is also correct. Uniform Civil Code is directive principle of state policy originating from liberal intellectual ideology. Yes, fourth is also correct. Our answer basically is D. All right. Moving on to the next. Now we are into anti-tank missile that has been test fired. Anti-tank missile that has been recently test fired. All right. So if you look into it, so what has happened is India has successfully test fired man portable anti tank guided missile. All right, it has been taken into consideration now for quite a few months, and this was basically its final user trial. So now it will be inducted into the arsenal of Indian Army. All right, it has been designed and developed by DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization. All right, what are basically the features, important features? Okay, first and foremost, it is fire and forget missile. Okay, so you have to adjust its target and then fire it, and it will hit the target without missing it. Second thing, its strike range is 2.5 kilometers, which is quite impressive. Third thing with respect to it is attack ready. It can be attack ready in both day and night. It can be attack ready in both day and night. Okay, it can basically penetrate modern tank armors. All right, it is portable, so it can be launched from anywhere. It basically can be launched from anywhere. All right, and therefore what we see is its utility being quite high at this point of time for the Indian Army. So it will be inducted into Indian Army. It will be basically inducted into Indian Army. Let us now look into the question provided. Which of the following statements is correct regarding MPATGM? It is anti-tank guided missile, absolutely correct. MPATGM will be fired from Rafale fighter jets, nahi. It will be man fired using the launcher, which is portable, as we have discussed. The missile has been designed and developed by DRDO, absolutely correct. So here option B is correct. 1 and 3 statements are only correct. Now we basically move on to Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. So it is basically regulator in the insurance sector, as RBI is in banking sector, regulator of insurance sector. And what has this regulator done? So it has come up with the policy which will free wording limits of non-insurance company. Now first and foremost, what is non-insurance company? Non-life insurance companies. Non-life insurance companies. Now what is non-life insurance company? Non-life insurance companies are those which basically provide for insurance of everything other than life coverage. Okay, so be it life coverage is not covered, be it health insurance, be it accidental insurance, be it motor insurance. Okay, so all of this is covered by non-life insurance companies. So now, because there was first a wording policy, what used to happen is there was basically a compulsion to provide a whole category product. Now what is whole category product? Whole category product is, so for example, if life insurance is been provided, health insurance is been provided, or for example, if motor insurance is provided, then motor insurance will not have variations. सब कंपनीज के terms and conditions will be same, only what will be differ, pricing will differ. ठीक है. So there could not be innovation. There could basically not be innovation. Now because the wording policy is freed, what can happen is I can take motor insurance for only specific purpose and for specific period. Earlier this was not the case. So if I am not a regular driver, what I can do is I can take insurance only for the purpose of driving on certain occasions or only for a smaller period of time. Now this has provided the companies chance to innovate. Also what it can do is it can provide for amalgamation of two different types of non-life insurance. For example, health insurance or accident insurance and motor insurance can go together, or health insurance and motor insurance can go together, and a amalgamated or a mixed product can be created. All right, so this is basically a reform in insurance sector. Okay, so let us look into it. Let us look into the question. Insurance regulator IRDAI has freed up policy wordings for insurance companies. What is the implication of the same? So first option is it will do away with distinction of life and non-life insurance. Absolutely not. Second, this shall allow insurance companies to market products of non-banking financial companies. Again, no. Third, it shall allow insurance companies to offer products that are specific to requirement. Absolutely correct. So option C is correct. All right, friends, thank you so much for being part of this discussion. I hope you have liked it. I will request you all to share this video to your friends also and let them take the benefit of these sessions. And also please subscribe to our channel and please like the video. It will encourage us. A lot. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.